Hi, it's a slightly different location this morning. I am in sunny, beautiful Malta, and I've been here for a few days, and it's got me thinking. So, I wanted to talk to you about how marriage is like Malta. And the reason I wanted to bother talking about this is that marriage affects our mental, emotional, and physical health enormously. So, the person that you are married to and the relationship that you have has a huge impact on your health. I think I should probably start the video by saying, of course, if your marriage is abusive in any way, then you need to be walking away from it. But if it's not, and perhaps just sometimes you question it, or it feels kind of normal, but maybe a little bit boring, and you wonder how it impacts your health, then maybe this is a good video for you. So the reason I'm talking from beautiful Malta is that I used to live here. So around 11 years ago, my husband and I moved here on a complete whim. So my husband is Sicilian and I am obviously English, and we got married 11 years ago, coming up for, and we had decided that we wanted to go somewhere warmer. We lived in London at the time. My husband couldn't handle the lack of sunshine anymore, and we knew we needed a change. So we decided on Malta. We had some friends there. We knew they spoke English, but we'd never visited. We just moved there completely blind. 6 days after we got married, we got on a plane and stayed for 3 years. We really liked it. We were going to stay for longer, in fact, but then my heart was drawn to trying Spain. So in the 3 years that we spent here, we moved around quite a few times, tried out different towns, and really got to know the country, and really, really liked it. And so, because the beginning of my journey in Malta was also the beginning of my marriage, and I'm now almost 11 years in, I was thinking about how the two are connected. And I actually thought that Malta has quite a lot in common with marriage. And here's why. So first of all, Malta is very beige. This background might not show you, but I'm going to show you some pictures. It is absolutely covered from head to toe in limestone, which is what it's built on. And it got this kind of very plain, very monotonous beige colour to all of the towns, and indeed all of the beaches with rocks, and absolutely everywhere. And I was kind of thinking how marriage can be beige sometimes. Beige is very plain, it's very boring, it can be very monotonous. But marriage, like Malta, sometimes surprises you with big bursts of colour or hidden surprises, hidden gems. And Malta has plenty of those. If you go into the towns or if you go to the beaches, the colours are spectacular. And I think with marriage, if you are willing to sail through the beige and be patient with it, then you will find hidden gems and you will find bursts of colour. So patience, I think, is the first thing that Malta teaches me or reminds me about marriage. The second thing is that Malta is affectionately known as the rock in the sea because it is effectively a rock that just sticks up out of the Mediterranean. It's teeny tiny. I think it's 45 kilometres in length, and it has a couple of other islands aside from the main one, so Comino and Gozo, also tiny. And it's amazing, really, that they survive because they are surrounded by ocean and they're tiny. But Malta is resilient and it withstands incredible heat, gale force winds, and over its history, many attacks. And I think marriage is like that too. You have to learn to be resilient and withstand the hard stuff in order to really enjoy the good stuff. So the fact that it is a rock in the sea reminds me that resilience is essential in marriage. Another thing kind of related to this is that Malta is very, very windy. So that's because it's a rock in the sea and it is hilly, but overall it's quite flat. And so obviously the wind from the ocean all around it just constantly blows and it feels very windy. And wind is obviously a symbol of change and evolution, sometimes turbulence. And we have all of those things in marriage, right? So you marry one person, and I'm sure in 40 years' time or 50 years' time, I'll tell you that although some things are the same, he's probably a different person, and so will I be. And that's good, because just like the wind brings change sometimes, change can be evolution. And marriage needs evolution. As individuals, we change and we grow. And the important thing is to grow and change together. Not doing the same things. You don't have to be the same person, but to respect each other's path of growth and to admire each other's path of evolution, and therefore grow together and not grow apart into distant, changed beings that don't know how to be together. I think the wind in Malta reminds me that it's important to change, but it's also important to maintain the love that got you there in the first place. And that's easy enough to do if you do little things. I'm always talking about how small ripples make big waves. Well, just holding hands sometimes, or smiling, making each other that morning cup of coffee, trying to just let the little things that maybe are annoying go and see the bigger picture of change and evolution and how you're getting there together, and having those little moments is a good way to get there. Another thing about Malta that kind of ties into that is that because it is so small, they can't produce very much by themselves. So an awful lot of the stuff that they have here, food-wise and otherwise actually, is imported. And I was thinking about how in marriage, we kind of import these external influences. They might be from work, they might be from a new hobby, they might be from friends, but external influences are always affecting the way that we change and therefore the way that the marriage goes. So all of the things that are imported and quite expensive in Malta made me reflect on how in marriage external influences are part of the journey. You have to have those external influences for you to become the person that you need to become. And so it's not a bad thing. If it seems like your partner is really into something new and you're not sure about it, just let them have that journey and stay close to them and be interested in it and see where that takes you, see how that helps them to evolve. And then if you think about the people in Malta, if you've never visited, I suggest you do. I guess this is a little bit like people anywhere. If you meet them where they're at, if you make the effort to speak their language, although here they are bilingual, they speak Maltese and English, and most people speak Italian as well, so they're incredible. But if you're friendly to them, if you extend warmth and friendliness, they extend warmth and friendliness right back. If you try to speak their language, try to say a few words, then that goes a long way. And I think that's true in marriage as well. Empathy and reaching out, offering kindness, giving what you hope to get back is really important. Sometimes we just have this expectation, and I've talked about this before, and it sets us up for disappointment. And that's true in the people who are closest to us as well. But if you feel like your partner is distant, or if you feel like things aren't quite how they used to be, then try having a little bit of empathy. Try asking how your partner is. Try one of the little things that I mentioned before. Small things can go a long way, just holding hands, or an affectionate stroke, or a smile, or a laugh, or any way that you can reconnect and extend the kindness that you hope to get back. Might just invite that in. Sometimes you get stuck in a rut, or sometimes things just feel a little bit disconnected, and a little bit of connection can go a long way. And I find that's true in Malta as well, and it made me think about marriage in the same way. Like with anywhere else, if you protect it and nurture it and allow it to evolve and to expand, then your marriage will get better and better. It'll be better than you could ever have imagined. I'm only 11 years in, and I'm sure that people in the comments who are much further in will have other things to say about it. But my experience of the journey is that if what you get out, what you put in. So that's true for Malta, like it's true for any country. If you protect the nature and the history and the beautiful parts of it, then you allow it to evolve into something that people really want to visit and that people want to live in. And that's true with marriage as well. So overall, I think my message is, as always, one of joy and hope, a positive one. And the reason I'm talking about marriage again is that if our marriage is strong and positive and happy, then that has an enormous influence on our mental, emotional, and physical health. It helps us to reduce stress, reduce symptoms of anxiety or depression. It helps us to feel happier. It helps us to have a better mood, and it helps a ton of other things. I will link some studies below on how marriage impacts health. And of course, I'm talking about marriage because I got married before I moved to Malta, but you don't have to have the ring and be married in order for this stuff to be true. It's true for long-term relationships. I think it's normal for them to eventually feel stagnant, and these are all things that you can think about doing to stop it feeling way. So to summarise today, Malta reminds us in marriage to remain resilient, to be patient, to extend kindness and give what we hope to get back, to understand that turbulence and change are okay and are part of the journey, and to remember that if you stick with it, then spectacular colour and hidden gems could be hidden just around the corner. I hope you can visit Malta if you've never been. It really is worth spending some time in. And otherwise, I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.